The phone call that changed everything came at sunset on my second day of retirement. I was sitting on my new dock, finally peaceful for the first time in 40 years, when my daughter-in-law's voice cut through that peace like a buzzsaw. "Carl," Linda said. "No greeting, straight to business. My parents are moving into your lake house. Ryan and I already decided. If you have a problem with it, you can sell the place and move back to the city." I'm Carl Mitchell, 65 years old, and I'd just spent every penny of my retirement savings on this cabin in northern Minnesota. It was Martha's dream before cancer took her 3 years ago, and now some entitled young woman thought she could just take it. I didn't argue, I didn't raise my voice, but when her parents showed up 3 days later, they discovered what I had waiting for them. Let me back up. I'd worked construction for 40 years, got up at 5 every morning, missed family dinners and holidays because buildings don't construct themselves. Before that, I did my time in Vietnam with the 1st Cavalry Division. Point is, I know how to handle difficult situations and difficult people. The closing on the cabin had happened just 2 days before Linda's call. $180,000, every penny Martha and I had saved over 4 decades of sacrifice. We'd planned to retire there together, fish the lake, watch the eagles soar over the water she loved so much. Cancer had other plans for Martha, but I was determined to live out her dream for both of us. So there I was, finally at peace in Martha's paradise, when my daughter-in-law decided she owned the place too. See, Linda Morrison had married my son Ryan 8 years ago. Nice enough girl at first, or so I thought. But over the years, I'd watched her chip away at our family traditions like acid on metal. No more grace before meals, too old-fashioned. No more visiting Martha's grave on her birthday. Too morbid. No more family gatherings that didn't revolve around what Linda wanted. Ryan worked as a plant supervisor in Kansas City. Good job, steady paycheck, responsible kid who'd grown into a responsible man. But Linda always wanted more. More money, bigger house, fancier cars. Her parents, Gary and Patricia Walsh, had been staying temporarily with them for months after Gary lost his restaurant to what Ryan called bad luck. I had my suspicions it was more than bad luck, but I kept my mouth shut. Family peace and all that. I'd met Gary and Patricia exactly 3 times in 8 years. Wedding, Christmas 2 years ago, and Ryan's birthday last year. Gary had the soft hands of a man who'd never done real work, and Patricia looked at our modest family gatherings like she was slumming it. Neither impressed me much, but they weren't my problem. When Linda called that evening, she didn't ask. She informed me. Said her parents needed peace and quiet for Gary's blood pressure. Said I was selfish for having 3 bedrooms when I was just one person rattling around. Said if I couldn't learn to share, maybe I should sell the cabin and move into one of those senior communities where someone else could make the decisions. The threat was crystal clear. Give us what we want, or we'll make your life hell until you do. I hung up and sat there watching the loons call across Martha's Lake. Their voices echoed like the sound of distant artillery, bringing back memories of Firebay's Charlie and long nights listening for enemy movement. 40 years I'd been the peacekeeper in this family, the guy who avoided conflict to keep everyone happy, the one who bit his tongue when Linda made her little comments about outdated values and old-fashioned thinking. Not this time. I went inside and made a plan the way I'd been taught in the army. Military training never leaves you, not really. First rule of combat, know your enemy. Second rule, control the battlefield. Third rule, use superior tactics to overcome superior numbers. Martha's picture smiled at me from the mantel, and I could almost hear her voice. "Carl Mitchell, you didn't survive Vietnam and 40 years of construction sites to be pushed around by some spoiled girl and her worthless parents." Next morning I called my old squad leader, Terry Sullivan, who'd become sheriff of Lake County after his discharge. "Carl Mitchell, you old devil," he said when he heard my voice. "Heard through the grapevine you bought the Peterson place on Anchor Point Road. Word travels fast up here. Small community, brother? What can I do for you?" I explained the situation without emotion, sticking to facts the way we'd been trained to brief officers. Terry listened like the good NCO he'd always been, asking the right questions at the right times. "Sounds like someone's trying to run a con on you," he said when I finished. "You want my advice? Always. Document everything, every phone call, every text, every threat. If they show up uninvited, that's criminal trespassing on private property. I've got no patience for people who think they can push around a veteran in his own home, especially one who served with honor. Roger, that sheriff?" Then I drove to town and bought what I needed for Phase 2 of my defensive preparations. At Tower Hardware, the owner Pete helped me find everything I needed. Security cameras, 3 of them, motion-activated with night vision capability. A floodlight for the driveway that would illuminate anyone approaching the house. Wireless trail cameras like hunters use, except I'd be hunting something different. Planning to keep an eye on the deer? Pete asked as he rang up my purchase. Something like that, I said, paying cash. Want to know exactly who's coming and going on my property? Pete nodded approvingly. Smart thinking. Lots of folks up here use these for security too. Motion activated, sends alerts right to your phone, records everything in high definition. Total cost, $420. Worth every penny for what I had planned. I spent Wednesday installing my surveillance network with the precision I'd learned setting up defensive positions in Vietnam. First camera went in the pine trees covering the driveway approach, angled to capture license plates and faces. Second camera mounted under the garage eave, focused on the front door and porch area. Third camera positioned to monitor the dock and boathouse, because I'd learned long ago to cover all possible approaches. Testing each unit, I verified cellular connectivity and adjusted angles until coverage overlapped perfectly. No dead zones, no blind spots. The engineering part of my brain found deep satisfaction in the precise fields of view, the documented timestamps on every recording. Like setting up a proper perimeter defense. Thursday, I made another trip to town, this time to the office of Blake & Associates, the only law firm in the area. Carol Blake turned out to be younger than I expected, maybe 45, with the no-nonsense manner of someone who'd grown up in logging country and knew how to handle tough situations. I explained my circumstances without emotion, presenting facts the way I'd briefed commanding officers back in the day. Carol listened carefully, taking notes, asking clarifying questions about timeline and specific threats. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, Mr. Mitchell, she said when I finished. Your daughter-in-law has informed you that her parents are arriving tomorrow to stay in your home indefinitely. You never agreed to this arrangement. She's essentially given you an ultimatum, accept it or face consequences. That's exactly right. And you want to understand your legal options for protecting your property rights. I want to protect what my wife and I worked 40 years to achieve. This cabin represents everything we sacrificed for. Carol leaned back in her chair, studying me with sharp eyes. Mr. Mitchell, you have every legal right to refuse entry to anyone you choose. This is your private property. You have zero obligation to house your sons-in-laws, regardless of their circumstances or family pressure. What if they arrive anyway and refuse to leave? If they refuse to depart after you've clearly requested their departure, that constitutes criminal trespassing. You can call Sheriff Sullivan immediately. I know Terry personally, good man, fair but firm. He won't tolerate anyone trying to intimidate a veteran on his own property. I nodded slowly, feeling pieces of my strategy clicking into place. I want to handle this situation carefully. My son is caught in the middle. I don't want to damage my relationship with him if possible. I understand completely. Here's what I recommend. She pulled out a fresh, legal pad. Document absolutely everything, every conversation, every message, every threat. If they do arrive and refuse to leave, provide them with clear written notice. Make it polite but unambiguous. If they still won't go, then we escalate through proper legal channels. I hired her on the spot, writing a check for $1,500 as a retainer. Money well spent for professional backup. Driving back to the cabin, I thought about Ryan. My boy, the son I'd taught to throw a curveball and change a tire, helped with algebra homework, watched walk down the aisle in his dress blues when he married Linda. He wasn't my enemy in this fight. Linda had put him in an impossible position, caught between loyalty to his father and peace in his marriage. That evening, I sat on Martha's dock watching the sun paint the lake in shades of gold and orange. The loons were calling to each other across the water, their voices carrying the wild loneliness of the North Country. Tomorrow everything would change, but I was ready. This old soldier had one more battle in him. Friday morning arrived cool and overcast, typical northern Minnesota weather in early fall. I woke at 0500 hours out of long habit, made strong coffee, and watched mist rise from the lake like smoke from a cooling battlefield. My phone showed the text Linda had sent during the night. Dad and Mom arriving Duluth 11:30. Be there, I didn't respond. At 11:30 hours, I was on my dock reading We Were Soldiers Once, and young Harold Moore's account of the Ayadrang Valley fight seemed appropriate somehow. At 11:45, my phone buzzed with Linda calling. I let it go to voicemail without looking up from my book. At 12:15, another text arrived. Where are you? They're waiting at the airport. I kept reading about brave men doing their duty under impossible circumstances. At 12:47, Ryan called. I answered on the third ring, keeping my voice calm and level. "Dad, what's going on?" "Linda's parents are stranded at the Duluth airport. She said you agreed to pick them up." "Son, I never agreed to pick them up. I never agreed to let them stay at my cabin." Long pause. "Dad, Linda told me you two worked this out." "Linda informed me of her decision, Ryan. There's a significant difference between asking permission and demanding compliance. They're family, Dad." "No, son. They're her family. I've met those people exactly 3 times in 8 years. I don't know them, and I certainly didn't spend 4 decades building a life so strangers could move into my home without invitation." I could hear Linda's voice in the background, sharp and getting sharper. Ryan sighed, and I heard the exhaustion in it. "Dad, please, just for a few weeks while they figure out their next move." I said, "No, Ryan. That's my final answer. I'm sorry this puts you in an uncomfortable position, but I'm not responsible for promises Linda made without consulting me. What am I supposed to tell them?" "Tell them there's a Holiday Inn in Duluth. Clean, comfortable, reasonable rates. I hear the continental breakfast is quite good." I ended the call and returned to my book, but concentration proved impossible. Instead, I walked my property perimeter, checking sightlines and approaches like I was preparing for incoming contact. 2 hours later, the driveway alarm activated on my phone. The camera feed showed a white rental sedan emerging from the trees. 2 elderly figures climbed out stiffly, Gary Walsh in an ill-fitting suit and Patricia Walsh in city clothes completely inappropriate for northern Minnesota. Gary surveyed my property with calculating eyes, probably estimating value. Patricia immediately began swatting at insects and making disgusted faces at the wilderness around her. I met them on the front porch, standing at attention in clean jeans and my Vietnam veteran's cap. "Gary, Patricia, Carl." Gary's handshake was weak, the grip of a man who'd never collused his hands with honest work. "Sorry about the confusion at the airport. We rented a car after waiting 2 hours. Linda said you'd have the guest rooms prepared. There was no confusion. I never agreed to have you stay here, and I certainly never agreed to prepare accommodations." Patricia's face twisted with indignation. "Excuse me?" Linda specifically said, "This was all arranged. We drove 3 hours from Duluth. Linda doesn't own this property. I do, and I'm telling you clearly that you're not welcome here." Gary stepped forward, attempting to use his height advantage to intimidate me. Fatal mistake. "Now look here, Carl. Let's be reasonable about this. We're family. Linda and Ryan believe this arrangement benefits everyone. You're one man alone in a 3-bedroom house. It's frankly selfish to refuse when people are genuinely in need. Selfish." I let the word hang in the air between us like cordite smoke. I worked construction for 40 years. Got up at 5 every morning, worked in rain, snow, and 100-degree heat. Missed family dinners, birthday parties, Christmas mornings because I was building America's infrastructure. My wife sacrificed right alongside me, never complaining when I came home exhausted and covered in sawdust. And you're calling me selfish for not surrendering the home we earned to people who can't manage their own financial affairs. "We're not asking for charity," Patricia sniffed. "We're family. You're strangers who happen to share DNA with my daughter-in-law. That's not the same thing as family." Gary's face reddened like a man unaccustomed to hearing the word no. "This is completely ridiculous. Linda warned us you might be difficult, but I didn't expect this level of unreasonableness. We have nowhere else to go. There's a nice resort about 40 minutes north of here. Excellent fishing, comfortable cabins. I recommend it highly." "We're not leaving," Gary declared, crossing his arms. "We drove all this way. We're tired, we're stressed, and we have just as much right to be here as you do." "No, you absolutely do not. I own this property, you don't. And if you refuse to leave immediately, I'll call the county sheriff and have you removed for criminal trespassing." I pulled out my phone. Sheriff Sullivan is an old military buddy of mine. We served together in Vietnam. He takes a very dim view of people who attempt to intimidate veterans on their own property. Patricia grabbed Gary's arm urgently. "Let's just go. We'll call Linda from town. She'll straighten this whole mess out." They retreated to their rental car, arguing in heated whispers. I watched them drive away, then went inside to review the camera footage. Every word recorded in crystal clear high definition, every facial expression captured, every moment of their attempted intimidation documented with timestamp evidence. The phone began ringing within an hour. First Linda, absolutely furious. I let it go to voicemail, then Ryan, pleading and apologetic. same treatment. Then Linda again, leaving a message that crossed the line from anger into outright threats. You're going to regret humiliating my parents, Carl? You think you can treat family like garbage without consequences? Think again. Ryan and I are discussing our legal options. Enjoy your precious cabin while you still can. I saved every message and added them to my growing evidence file. That night, I sat on Martha's dock with bourbon instead of coffee, thinking about what came next. Linda wasn't the type to accept defeat gracefully. She'd escalate, just like enemy forces used to do when their initial assault failed. But I'd faced worse opponents than one spoiled woman and her entitled parents. And now I had something I'd never possessed in Vietnam: complete home field advantage. 3 weeks passed in deceptive quiet. I spent them the way I'd prepared for combat patrols in the Central Highlands: intelligence gathering, defensive positioning, contingency planning for every possible enemy move. I reached out to Tommy Martinez, an old army buddy who'd become a private investigator after retiring from the Minneapolis Police Department. Tommy owed me a favor from our infantry days when I dragged his wounded body to a dust-off landing zone under heavy fire. I need a comprehensive background check, I explained during our encrypted phone call. Family situation that's escalating. How deep you want me to dig, brother? All the way to bedrock. Financial records, employment history, criminal background, civil judgments, everything. Give me 72 hours. The report Tommy delivered exceeded my expectations. Gary Walsh had declared bankruptcy 18 months earlier, not because of bad luck but due to compulsive gambling debts. Lost his restaurant to poker games and slot machine addiction. Currently owed $65,000 to various creditors, some of whom had less than legal collection methods. But the real bombshell concerned Linda Morrison. Bank records showed systematic transfers from Ryan's accounts totaling $35,000 over the past 6 months. Money my son didn't know was missing, funding her parents' lifestyle while she maintained the fiction that Gary's problems were temporary. There was more devastating information in Tommy's report. Linda had been terminated from her office manager position 4 months earlier for embezzlement, $8,000 in missing petty cash that her company chose not to prosecute to avoid negative publicity. She'd never told Ryan about losing her job, instead withdrawing money from their joint accounts to maintain the illusion of steady employment. The evidence painted a clear picture. Linda Morrison was a career criminal who'd targeted my son for financial exploitation. I sat with this information for 2 days, wrestling with an impossible decision. Telling Ryan would shatter what remained of his marriage. Not telling him would allow the theft to continue indefinitely. In the end, Martha's voice seemed to whisper from beyond. Protect our boy. I sent Ryan an encrypted email with the complete investigative file attached. Subject line: Son, you deserve to know the truth. The phone call came 8 hours later. It's all true, Ryan said, his voice hollow with devastation. Every word. I confronted Linda with the bank records. She admitted everything: the job loss, the money transfers, the lies about her parents' situation. Claimed she was protecting me from stress. My heart broke for him. I'm sorry, Ryan. 8 years, Dad. 8 years married to a complete lie. When I asked about that elder abuse report she filed against you, she said you deserved it for disrespecting her family. How could I have been so blind? Because you loved her. Because you're a decent man who assumes other people share your values. Learn from this, son, but don't blame yourself. What do I do now? Whatever you decide, you know I'm here. The divorce papers were filed 6 weeks later. Ryan called to tell me himself, his voice stronger than I'd heard it in months. I asked her to leave. She's staying with her parents at some extended stay motel in Kansas City. Her attorney already contacted mine. They're threatening to fight for half of everything, including trying to claim part of your cabin. How are you holding up? Honestly, better than I expected. It's like a massive weight lifted when I finally saw her for what she really was. He paused. I found more evidence after you sent that report. Hidden credit cards, loans taken out in my name without my knowledge, forged signatures on documents. It's going to take months to sort out financially, but at least now I understand what I'm dealing with. Linda's final desperate gambit came through her sleazy attorney. A frivolous lawsuit claiming the money she'd stolen from Ryan was actually loans to me, entitling her to a stake in my property. Complete fabrication, but she found a lawyer willing to file anything for the right fee. Ryan shut that nonsense down immediately. He told her attorney that if they pursued any action against me, he'd testify about every fraudulent transaction, every forged signature, every documented lie. He provided them with copies of Tommy's criminal background investigation. They dropped Linda as a client within 24 hours. The divorce finalized in February. Linda got some furniture and a restraining order after threatening to burn down everything Ryan cared about. Ryan got his freedom and what remained of his savings, enough for a fresh start away from her toxicity. He moved to Duluth that spring, taking a plant supervisor position with better pay and clean air. Bought a modest house with a workshop where he could restore the old Chevy Camaro we'd worked on together when he was a teenager. He drove up to the cabin most weekends, sometimes to fish Martha's Lake, sometimes just to sit on her dock and decompress from the stress of rebuilding his life. One Saturday morning in May, Ryan's truck came up the driveway with a passenger. A woman got out, tall, auburn-haired, with laugh lines around green eyes and a firm handshake that spoke of honest work. "Dad, this is Nancy Parker. We work together at the plant? I've told her about you and Mom." Nancy looked me straight in the eye. "Ryan says you're the man who taught him everything important about integrity and standing up for what's right, and that your late wife had impeccable taste in lake houses. We spent the day fishing Martha's waters." Nancy proved surprisingly skilled with rod and reel, patient and observant. When she hooked a beautiful walleye, she whooped with genuine joy like a kid at Christmas. I liked that about her, the capacity to find happiness in simple, honest pleasures. A year later, Ryan and Nancy got engaged. They bought the old Johnson place 2 miles down the lake, close enough for regular visits, far enough for privacy and independence. I attended their closing, sitting quietly while they signed papers, feeling the same fierce pride I'd felt watching Ryan graduate from high school. Their wedding was small and perfect, held at the VFW Hall overlooking Lake Superior on a crisp September afternoon. 50 people, mostly Nancy's family and Ryan's work friends. I gave a toast that made everyone laugh and brought tears to Nancy's eyes. Linda wasn't there, obviously. She'd remarried quickly to a retired insurance executive from Florida with substantial assets. Gary and Patricia moved in with them immediately. I heard through Ryan's attorney that the new husband was already questioning unexplained charges on his credit cards. Some people never learn. That autumn, standing on Martha's dock, watching mist rise from the lake she'd loved, I reflected on the battle I'd fought and won. None of it had unfolded as planned. I'd bought this cabin seeking solitude and peace, the quiet Martha and I had earned through 40 years of sacrifice. Instead, I'd gotten conflict, investigation, and a family crisis that threatened everything we'd built. But I'd also gained something unexpected and infinitely valuable, a deeper relationship with my son, forged through shared struggle against deception. The knowledge that he respected my judgment enough to trust painful truth over comfortable lies, a daughter-in-law who honored our family values, the promise of grandchildren who would learn to love this place as Martha had. Linda and her parents had tried to steal it all using manipulation, fraud, and legal intimidation. They failed because I remembered fundamental lessons from Vietnam and 4 decades of honest work. Stand your ground, gather intelligence, use superior tactics, and fight until victory is secured. I'd chosen truth over false peace, protected what mattered most regardless of personal cost, and discovered that sometimes the hardest battles yield the greatest rewards. Looking back, I understand this wasn't really about a lake house at all. It was about refusing to let parasites destroy what good people build through honest sacrifice. About teaching the next generation that some principles are worth defending, no matter the cost. Every man over 50 knows this feeling. Watching younger people who never earned anything try to take what you've built. They'll use guilt, manipulation, family pressure, whatever works. They're counting on your desire to avoid conflict, to keep peace at any price. But sometimes peace isn't possible until you win the war. The moment someone demands what they haven't earned, that's your signal to stop being accommodating and start being strategic. Document everything, know your rights, trust your instincts about people's character. Most importantly, remember that standing up to bullies isn't about anger, it's about protecting what matters for the people who deserve it. Your hard work means something. Your sacrifice has value. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise, no matter what they call themselves or how they're related to your family.